My name is Davy Wessels. President Trump, I see a lot of liberals wants to tell you what's going on in South Africa. Well, on ground level, our situation is dismal. And yes, you are correct in your assumption that South Africa is a failed state. We are experiencing a war-like situation with more than 22,000 people being murdered each year, hundreds of thousands of people being affected by crime each year. Thousands of our people and children are being murdered and raped on a daily basis. I'm a boer and farmer, and since the ANC came into power, thousands of white farmers were murdered and tortured to death on their farms. This being actively encouraged by the EFF and ANC. People are dying in state hospitals, always, waiting for days to be admitted for standard procedures. All the while, the ANC cadre steals the money, which is supposed to go to the needy. All state institutions are failing, and the woke liberal DA are the ones signing the expropriation law into power, since they are part of the ANC-led government. The situation is so bad currently that if a loved one doesn't answer their phone, you're immediately worried about what could have happened to them. The woke liberals and the ANC is trying to paint a rosy picture, but if you want our help in your investigation, we will show you the reality on ground level. We already gathered 50,000 signatures in 2 days in support of this message of us. And it is to be handed over in a huge gathering by our fellow Boers and Patriots Saturday the 15th at the US Embassy in Pretoria. This gathering is organized by myself and fellow Afrikaner Willem Petzer. We sincerely hope this message will reach you, and we want to thank the international community for their continued support.
What does Donald Trump's executive order mean for South Africa?
Well, I think we have to start by defining what a refugee is. Refugees are people from war-torn country fleeing persecution, people that are desperately seeking just a bit of a better life than they currently have. Now we also have to ask the question, are white South Africans living on farms? Are they refugees? Can we see these people as refugees? And that answer is up for debate. My response to people saying, what would you make of people fleeing to America as refugees? I'd say let them go. And after 4 years, when the system changed over there, and they would like to return, we just say, you made your choice, stay that side. So to answer your question, what would this mean for South Africa? A lot of people believe that this would be terribly bad for South Africa as we'd lose our farmers, right? But we have to ask the question, are people really going to move to America? Or is Donald Trump just playing politics, right? He said he'd take over Gaza. He said he'd take Greenland. He said he is going to, take Canada. His next thing was helping white Afrikaners resettle in the USA. None of this seems to be happening. So should we rather ask, is Donald Trump going to keep to his word and help these, refugees? Or is this just some, 4D chess that we don't know the final move to?
Shoot, honestly, at this point, you guys, I would 100% like to believe that this is a political play. None of us were ready for the changes that are being made by President Donald Trump, and so many of us cursed the day we believed in him, especially Christians, you guys, because we thought he would lead from that perspective to unite us and. But unfortunately, it's not happening as planned, as you guys have seen on the news. But for those of you who have not been keeping up with the news, I'm just going to brief you guys on what is happening. Why is Donald Trump punishing South Africans so much, or South Africa as a country? Why is he so angry? Why is he humiliating us? Well, first and foremost, just to make it really easy for you guys, what had happened is that 4 days ago, AfroForum went to Donald Trump. I want to believe that they went there without any evidence, to back the points that are now being brought forward by Donald Trump as to why he wants nothing to do with us as a country. And furthermore, even going as far as formulating a plan to resettle, white Afrikaners and their families. Okay, so basically that is what I want to believe. They went without any evidence. You can argue down below, do you think, is this possible? My thought, and that basically, there's white genocide going on there in South Africa. Furthermore, there's land expropriation. This new act means that whites will become, white farmers will become homeless. And it was because of this reason Donald Trump went over the news and basically decided to take away all trade deals, all the funding, I believe, as a punishment with regards to the land grab that they were convinced by the AfroForum that is currently happening, of which I think really should be a crime to be spreading such false information, especially to the president. Now, of course, you guys, the update would be that there is a minority of white South Africans. It's stated that about 10,000 South Africans have already inquired on how to leave this country. However, I've seen also on newspapers that a majority of white Afrikaners have basically said, you know what, thank you, Mr. Donald Trump, for this opportunity, and basically recognizing that we have been discriminated against. However, despite all the frustrations we are currently having with our South African government, we insist that we want to stay and fight for a better future. Okay, so let me just take a few comments from the people affected that are discriminated against. Okay, so one person is saying 100% correct. We are not leaving. We want to live in peace together, build a better country. Well, another said, so these Africa thing expect me to leave that. Guys, I'm sorry, this is a TikTok trend he's referring to, saying they're expecting me to live Iponyonyo Samamanyo here. It won't hit the same from the US. I am going nowhere. Another said, we will never go there. We want to protect our Afrikaans and our racist culture. While there were just a few saying, where do we sign up and who is funding our move? Then we will most definitely be out in no time. So yeah, guys, I tried my best to give you a brief summary. What are your thoughts? Do you think that, you know what, they truly want to leave this country? Do you think that this is a political play by Donald Trump? Please do share that with me down on the comments, and I'll surely see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Note to white South Africans who want to move to America as so-called refugees. The white American people will treat you exactly the same way that you treated white people fleeing from then Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe. The way that you treated those people, white Americans are going to treat you exactly the same way. I was at those braais where you would call the Zimbabwean so-called refugees, when you'd call them Wenwes. I used to call them that. You used to call them that because, you know, when we were in Zimbabwe, when we were in Rhodesia, and used to call them Wenwes. The American white people are going to treat you in exactly the same way. There will be no difference. Yeah, you will be social pariahs.